Peace and blessings, families. Me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Broadcasting Community. Shout out to the Louisiana All American Sports Network. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. This is my full post-game reaction to Southern University's 25-20 win over Alabama A&M. It was a very good performance by the team. I was very impressed by Xavier and ZT Set's performance for a red shirt freshman on the road. I think he played well. I think this sort of win could propel him and the Jaguars on the bigger and better things. And hopefully they could run the table the rest of the season and have the type of season I would want. Is a huge fan of Southern University football and as a member of Jaguar Nation. I know this is the election day, so I plan on being here for a good time, but not for a long time. So let me not tarry. Let me just get straight to the point. First and foremost, I'm gonna give you some stats. I'm gonna give a little bit of scoring breakdown, and then after that, I'm gonna give you my overall impressions. First and foremost, in terms of stats for Alabama A&M, Xavier Langford, he went 15-32, and he threw one interception. That was from a passing standpoint, but from a rushing standpoint, he had 15 carries for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns. His longest run was 32 yards. Donovan Eaglin had 16 carries for 77 yards. His long was 15. I was surprised he didn't get more touches, but I guess Xavier Langford kind of, even though he's a quarterback, I guess to a certain degree he was a little bit of a glorified running back. Kind of reminds me of Sean McCray and Ladarius Skelton a little bit, but that's another story. Ryan Morrow, he had 3 carries for 22 yards. From a receiving standpoint, Devin Herring had 4 receptions for 59 yards. Keenan Hambrick had 3 receptions for 47 yards. DJ Nelson had 3 receptions for 22 yards. And Jaden Gresham had 2 receptions for 20 yards. And I mean, from a stat standpoint, like that's the stats that really stand out for Alabama A&M. In terms of Southern, Xavier's AT set was 24-37 for 294 yards and 3 touchdowns. Kobe Dillon had 19 carries for 85 yards. Zay had 6 carries for 57 yards. And the thing that surprised me, I don't know if he's nicked up, if he's hurt, if he's injured, or is he in Terrence Graves' doghouse? Kendrick Grimes only had 5 carries for 5 yards. Maybe it was more him being ineffective. Maybe there's more than meets the eye. But that's one thing that really kind of caught my attention and caught my eye. It kind of seemed like the last couple of weeks, they really kind of, at least to me, they've been going with Kobe Dillon a lot more than I would. That's my personal opinion. From a receiving standpoint, Darren Morris had 5 receptions for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. Long was 36. Dupree Fuller had 4 receptions for 70 yards, 1 touchdown. His long was 23. Travian Brown had 4 receptions for 59 yards. His long was 28. Tyler Kirkwood, 3 receptions for 21 yards. And Kendrick Grimes had 2 receptions for 20 yards. Kobe Brown, 3 receptions for 16 yards. Kobe Dillon, 1 reception for 8 yards. And Jermaine Minor Jr. had 2 receptions for 4 yards. Now, this player here, defensively for Southern, he was huge. Even though Kelby Gibbons has been stellar defensively, and he was the preseason All-SWAC Defensive Player of the Year, this player has really been catching my eyes the last few weeks defensively for Southern. That's Herman Bristol the third. He had one reception. One interception for 19 yards. And he also, if I'm not mistaken, I think he had 10 and 11 tackles. So Herman Bristol the third has kind of been the man for Southern defensively, been making a lot of plays on the back end. And, having a player like that, it really kind of helps you, big time defensively. So he's been making a lot of plays on the back end. In terms of scoring summary, of course, Xavier Langford, he had a 1 yard touchdown run. And Alabama A&M went up 7-0. Then Victor Barbosa had a 21-yard field goal. Alabama A&M went up 10-0. And at this point, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of concerned. Then Zay threw an 11-yard touchdown pass to Darren Morris. And Joshua Griffin missed the extra point. So it was 10-6 in favor of Alabama A&M. And Joshua Griffin made a 35-yard field goal to cut it to 1. In the third quarter, Darren Morris caught a touchdown pass. Southern goes up by 6, 16-10. Joshua Griffin made a 32-yard field goal, put Southern up by 9. Victor Barbosa, in the fourth quarter, he had a 39-yard field goal. And then Xavier Langford had an 8-yard touchdown run, and they went up by 1. It was 1 minute and 12 seconds left. Dupree Fuller caught a 14-yard touchdown pass from Zay. And then Southern held them off at the end of the game. And I think it was a good win by Southern University. I'm not gonna lie, I was concerned at certain points in the game. Especially when it seemed like, it was 10-0 in favor of Alabama A&M. And then at the end, I felt like they scored a little bit too quick. But even with that being said, I was glad that, they were able to get the win. Now they come back to the friendly confines of A.W. Mumford Stadium, Pete Richardson Field. And at the end of the day, I think, of course, you don't want to overlook anyone. I think they should be, a favorite over Bethune-Cookman. But even with that being said, you don't want to overlook anyone in the SWAC because, they don't call it the Wild Wild West for no reason. But even with that being said, from a coaching standpoint, the thing I don't like is relying on another team to have to beat another team for you to, to get to the SWAC championship game or whatever. So the fact that Grambling really isn't playing well, but it's still a rivalry game, so you definitely not gonna overlook them. You got Pine Bluff coming up in a couple of weeks. You got Bethune. So more than anything, you control your own destiny the rest of the way in terms of getting to the SWAC championship game. But my approach is 1 week at a time, one step at a time. But in terms of Alabama A&M, I think them beating Alabama A&M was a good win, a much needed win. But I think the issue for Alabama A&M, Cornell Maynard, I'm not gonna lie, Cornell Maynard, he probably is going to get fired at this point. You don't want to see no head coach. If you're a coach, you don't want to see no head coach get fired unless you have some type of personal vendetta, personal issue against that particular coach. Well, let me rephrase that. As a Saints fan, I definitely wanted the Saints to get rid of Dennis Allen. That was long overdue. But I mean, at the end of the day, him firing him, he's gonna be all right. He was compensated very well. But I'm talking about just in general as a coach. You don't like to see another coach get fired, especially not a black coach. But at the end of the day, I know Alabama A&M fans are saying that, hey, he's not getting the job done, and they want him out. So I know that's what he's going to be. As the Southern University fan looking at Alabama A&M, I know the fan base is going to say, hey, we want him out. And that's what's going to happen because we said the same thing last year about Eric Dooley. So it kind of is what it is at the end of the day. Now, looking forward to this week, to the upcoming home game. Of course, towards the end of the season, they move kickoff up some. You know, it could be good in some instances, it could be bad in other instances. But either way, uh, Saturday's kickoff against Bethune Cookman is going to be 2 p.m. I'm definitely looking forward to the game. Southern definitely is the favorite going into the game, but at the same token, like I say, it's a trap game. You don't want to overlook Bethune Cookman. You need to take care of business every week the rest of the way. So just go in there and handle your business. I think definitely the win Saturday against Alabama A&M, it should give Xavier and ZT set you know some confidence. And I think at this point, barring injury, you should definitely stick with him the rest of the way. And we shouldn't see any no Biden sightings. And even if something was to happen to Zay, you know, of course you definitely don't want that to happen because I think things kind of went sideways once he got hurt against J State, the rest of the weeks. But I think Jalen Wood should be the backup. That is my personal opinion. Uh, Noah really hasn't lit the world on fire yet. If he would have been that guy, he would still be starting. So I think at the end of the day, I think, you just ride with Zay. If you blow Bethune out, truthfully speaking, I don't even think you put Noah in the game. I think you put Jalen Woods in the game and see what give him a little run and see what he's working with, you know. But overall, I thought it was an excellent performance by Xavier and ZT set. It was an excellent performance by Herman Bristol III defensively. I think the defense played good enough for you to win. And I think overall it was an excellent road win by the Jaguars. And I think we just kind of need to keep the ball moving forward. So let's see if Terrence Graves and staff, if they have the team focused this coming Saturday against Bethune-Cookman. Because in my opinion, it's definitely a trap game. You don't want to overlook Bethune-Cookman. And they need to bring the A game, and they need to just, week after week, just put together, you know, some good performances to kind of keep the momentum going. You beat Bethune, and you take care of Pine Bluff, and you take care of Grambling in the Classic. Then at that point, you should get to see Jackson State again. Barring they slip on the banana peel, you see FAMU again. But either way, both of those teams beat you handily. So you should be ready when you see either one of those two teams. And, win a SWAC championship, and hey, you'll see South Carolina State, North Carolina Central, whoever. So, hopefully they keep the ball rolling and they just win week after week after week after week. And at this point, I just need 5 more wins, and I think we straight. But that's it for this live stream. I got a couple upcoming Southern University videos coming up. I'm gonna talk about Pete Richardson in one of my upcoming videos. Also, I'm gonna talk about how about Chandler Whitfield, like how I really haven't heard anything about him to this point. And I got a couple other topics I want to talk about, but everybody that's gonna catch this on playback, I appreciate y'all checking out the live stream, especially on this Election Tuesday. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Peace and blessings, and go Jags.